So I've picked up a kind of funny guilty pleasure lately. There are these kind of horrible Minecraft YouTube videos that people make where they claim to be solving an ARG, but like an alternate reality game, and they call them ARG Minecraft videos. But the ARG is not real. Like they made it up for the video so that they could solve it in the video. And there's one that's actually quite good in my opinion called Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist by a creator called Wifey's. And I watched that and I thought, wow, this isn't like terrible like I thought it would be. But then I watched a bunch of others by different creators and they're so like hilariously silly. Like there are such like insane leaps of logic, like Sherlock level leaps of logic that are just extremely goofy, and they're supposed to be scary, but they're like Minecraft YouTube videos, so they're not scary at all.
So who is it? Who is the target audience here? Is it like
it's got to be younger kids?
Younger kids, yeah. I figured
kids who are like, I love Minecraft. It's crazy that we are in the year 2025 and there's still people who are like, I really like Minecraft.
Well, Minecraft, has
like
achieved
Minecraft.
that rare thing that
can't
Pokemon.
Sorry,
that Pokemon did, where like you're a kid, you grow up, you play Minecraft, and that's like evergreen. That's never going to change.
Yeah,
that's just a thing forever
I can't
now.
do Minecraft anymore. I just can't. I play the game like once a year, maybe if that, and it's always heavily modded.
Yeah, but you're still playing it.
Barely.
But
And then I
in
start
terms of
cheating 'cause
like
I get bored.
in terms of like content, I feel like Minecraft's also just a platform in itself.
Yeah,
right. Like
totally.
There's like all sorts of like lots of different kinds of Minecraft content out there. Like I've consumed FitMC a lot.
Oh, I love
and
FitMC.
like a few others.
I watch a lot of Hermitcraft too. Like unironically, I just really like Hermitcraft. I think they're well-made videos. I think they have like a Saturday morning cartoon vibe to them that I really like. I find them very relaxing. And also it's just like a ton of content, which is something I'm looking for as a guy who works from home and likes YouTube on in the background.
Yeah.
But these I want to talk about these ARGs a little more. The one that hooked me, In Search of a World That Doesn't Exist, it's like a retelling of The King in Yellow, apparently, which is like a famous short story that I don't know much about. But it's really funny because it has it's retelling an existing story using the mechanics of Minecraft. Like he lays a trap at one point using like a hopper clock to figure out if chunks were loaded to see if someone else was in his world. Like it's so goofy. Like
That's crazy.
it's very silly. And I don't know, man. I'm kind of in love with it. Sometimes you just gotta like turn your brain off and enjoy stuff.
I mean, Minecraft is like an infinite content machine.
100%.
Like even if they never updated Minecraft, like
that's the
for
thing.
the
Most
rest
of
of
these
time,
are in alpha builds of Minecraft.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because they're scarier because of the fog.
No, that's cool. They're like I want to say maybe once or twice a year. Like I go through phases in my YouTube watching, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe once or twice a year, I go into a Minecraft phase where I'm like, okay, what videos did Fit put out? Like, does any of it interest me? And there's always something that catches my eye.
There's a few other 2v2T content creators.
Even though I like
now,
never
too.
played it anymore. Yeah.
And I'm into it. I'm always into it.
Hey, and welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, Am and Mia, and today I'm joined by Connor.
Hey guys.
And Mike.
Hello.
And this is a pretty monumental episode.
I think this is... So this was a week ago now. This was last Wednesday, but I think it was actually the biggest day in gaming news maybe in our lives. Like, is that an exaggeration?
I mean,
when's
I
the
think
last
that's an
time-
exaggeration, but it's big news
When's
for
the
sure.
last time somebody joined the console? Like, I guess not in our lives because the Xbox is in our lives, but in our adult lives. Like, we have not seen a new player enter the console space ever.
Well, Steam's done it before, but let's just get into it. All right. So Valve came out and announced 3 pieces of Steam hardware. One was a new Steam controller, which was the tamest of the announcements. 2 was a new virtual reality headset called the Steam Frame, and we'll talk about that here later. And the biggest bomb drop was a new console called the Steam Machine, which I like it, very simple name.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is a console PC hybrid. Well, it is effectively just a PC, but it's presenting itself as a console.
I would say it's more effectively just a
SteamOS.
console.
No, I mean, they said in their announcement that it is a PC.
It is a PC,
right?
but you would have to go out of your way to use it as a PC. It boots into a
Right.
UI that is going to be very familiar to anyone who plays consoles.
Yes, and that to me, as someone as a console player primarily, that is the biggest selling point to me.
Yeah.
Like the biggest turnoff for me always for PC gaming was Windows.
Windows,
Really,
100%.
Windows is just awful.
It's such a huge barrier. I think there's two major barriers to PC gaming, and one is nobody wants to learn what VRAM is. That's like a random example, but like nobody wants to have to figure out what a 3060 is. Nobody wants to figure out what a Ryzen, whatever the hell. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to do
Right.
that. And then the other is everybody hates Microsoft Windows. Every person with a pulse and blood in their veins hates Microsoft Windows.
Well, yeah. So what Valve has done. So let's just start with the Steam machine. That's the biggest announcement. I think they've effectively removed, like you said, the two biggest barriers, right? One is Windows, and the other is just the hassle of I want to turn on a machine and play my game, right?
Yep.
Like that has always been like the console selling point. And now this machine does it, right?
Yeah, so what they're saying, and I don't know if this is true, but the claim is that with FSR, this is going to run the entire existing Steam library 4K 60. Now, I think having seen the specs, I find that a little dubious, but that is the claim.
Right. Yeah, so the specs, right? Like it is roughly around what you get from a PS5.
Yeah,
Can I
in broad terms.
can I make
Right,
my,
like the CPU is better. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
can I make my stance about the specs? I think we're not going to be as good looking at this because we're all PC gamers, or
Right.
at least me and Connor are, and we're gonna have this bias where we're kind of disappointed in it. But we're not the target market. The
100%.
target market is people who have never owned a PC before, who don't care if it's the most powerful thing in the world, and who buy like a console every generation and just keep up that way.
I agree. I
This
think
is a living room system. If we're going to complain about the VRAM, we have to remember that 8 gigabytes is enough for the common consumer.
yeah.
I will. Okay, I want to say I agree with you halfway, right? Because I think Valve is absolutely also targeting owners of PCs. Because did you see that one of the Valve engineers came out and said this machine is better spec'd than what 70% of our users have,
Yep.
right? And that
Yeah.
makes sense to me, right? Because PC Steam
so
specifically
broad.
caters to such a wide spectrum of hardware, and this is absolutely aiming to raise like the lower limit
Yeah.
of hardware, which I think is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it's a wonderful
'cause-
initiative to do.
Because too
And to
long,
set a
hardware has
lower limit.
only focused, like for by and large, PC hardware, even like console hardware, is always focused on pushing the
Mm-hmm.
top end, wherever that is for your machine, whether it's console or PC. This is the first machine I've seen that's really kind of focused on raising the floor,
Yeah.
which I think can only benefit games
Giving
as
the-
they like
yeah.
future games that are being developed spec to this machine.
Giving
So-
developers like a floor to reach, I think, is a great thing. I would love to see this thing sell a few million units just so that it is like an obvious floor to choose for developers.
Yeah.
I also like you have to acknowledge like the three of us have decent spec gaming PCs, but that like you said, 70% of the market is weaker than the Steam machine, and that's because there's a lot of people who like PC's far and away the best place to play Stardew Valley. And if you like games like that, cozy games, that's on Steam. Those games are not anywhere else. They do not get ported to console because they don't sell that well.
And here's the thing about the VRAM. 8 gigabytes of VRAM, according to the Steam hardware survey, is 33% of Steam users.
Yeah.
That's a substantial chunk. And I think, honestly, it might skew lower than 8 gigabytes is more common.
Yeah, I mean, what they said was that with regards to the specs, they just didn't feel like they needed more than 8 gigs to meet their
Yeah.
target. That is what they've said. I don't know how that's going to play out in reality. We haven't seen benchmarks.
Yeah,
They went off the Steam hardware survey
Yeah.
and went off what the average user is. This is an average PC,
Yeah.
a slightly above average. And I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and if they can get it out at a decent price,
So
yeah, it's all hinging
that
on the
is
price.
honestly, this whole thing could go any which way because of price. And I think Valve knows that, and I think that's why they have not announced the price yet, because they are thinking hard about where to place this. Because where they price it, and this is the most fascinating aspect of this whole thing to me, where they price it will dictate the future of this thing and the future of Valve's stance as like a console contender, right? Yeah. If this thing is like $700-800+,
it's so
like,
niche.
Right, it is immediately... It's not a contender like in the console wars.
Right.
Let's just say, right?
I know people that would buy it, but
this is another Steam Deck level product, which is fine, right? Like Steam users will enjoy it. I'm sure Valve will get some people switching over from console or some people who've never bought either into this machine. But to really compete against PlayStation and Nintendo, they need to price it at $500 or less.
I 100% agree.
I'm firm on that.
I think at $500, this is a device I would recommend to anyone that wants to play video games, and I would recommend it personally. I would recommend it over a PlayStation or an Xbox, just because.
I mean, I'm going to be real here. Like, I think if Valve puts this thing at 500, everyone is sweating. Sony is sweating. Nintendo is sweating. Right? Like,
if they put it,
but here's the thing: we just don't know their intentions. Do they want to enter that space?
I'm not sure.
I feel like they do, right? Like I feel like that's why this thing exists. But, you know, if in their head this is another Steam Deck kind of product, like to really cater to but more so their existing player base than maybe
strategy on the Steam Deck. And I'm actually not sure that there's like 5 million Steam Decks out there, something like that now.
Yeah.
It sold well. And I know
it sold well, but like I'm talking like, dude, if this thing is $500, I could see this thing selling 20 million plus units.
Right?
Really?
Like, yeah. I mean,
I think this thing would be like another console level.
So let me lay out what I think about the pricing. I think at $500, I think if they can hit 450, which would technically, from the numbers I've seen, they would skim a very narrow profit on 450. I think 500 is far more realistic. At $500, I recommend this to everybody I know. This is like just the device to get if you want to play video games.
I mean, if it's $500, I'm probably going to pick one up, even though I have a PS5, even though I have a PC that's better than this thing.
You would use this
it's
so
just
much more
so
than your
convenient.
PC. Yeah, I know
it's so
you.
Convenient.
You would.
Yeah, absolutely I would. Yeah,
you would
would
play way more, like Peak, for instance. You would play that with people probably.
Oh,
if
certainly.
you could just boot it up at your, At $600, I know a lot of people that would still bite. Just because
you lose a lot of people, though. You absolutely
half
lose
of the
a
people.
significant chunk of people.
At least half of the
price.
people. I would say it's a 10 million at 600, maybe less than that. But at $600, there are just a significant number of people, like just listing people I know, people that, and I know I'm actually digging myself a hole for a debate you and I get into all the time, Ambit, about do the types of games people play influence where they play. But if you're into cozy games, you're on Steam. If you're into indie horror, you're on Steam. If you're into friend slop, you're on Steam. There are a significant number of genres that have zero representation on console that are abundant on Steam. And this would give you a very easy, albeit not necessarily affordable at $600, way to get in on that.
Right.
At $700, I just, this is an extraordinarily niche product that I wouldn't recommend to basically anyone.
Like it's fascinating because like we're having this discussion before we get the most important piece of information.
Yeah.
Because they've nailed everything, right? But if they fumble the price, then everything's, I mean, like we're talking about becoming a mainstream device in like people's living rooms versus being a niche kind of thing that Steam enthusiasts purchase.
So speaking of the living room and things that got right, can we talk about how good this thing looks?
Oh yeah,
like I know you
Design
don't necessarily
is extremely good.
Agree with me about how hideous the PS5 is, but like this is the best looking console I've seen.
It definitely looks better than a PS5.
It looks so
like, for sure.
Like, this, I mean, it looks so good that I could see myself buying one once they are no longer technologically relevant to use as like an emulation box or something. I think it is such an attractive machine.
It's incredibly attractive, and it harkens back to the GameCube, which is like my favorite console design.
It's that cube design. I think that's the best part about it. It's also its small form factor. Like this thing,
it's like 6-inch.
And the thing about Valve is Valve's also not locking this thing down.
Right.
So say if you just want this as a compact desktop PC,
Yeah, you can boot it to a desktop.
You can boot
Yeah,
it to
you
Windows.
can play your Game Pass games on this
Yeah.
thing.
You could
as
put
well.
Windows on. You would have to put Windows on it to play Game Pass, but
Yeah,
you could
you'd
do
have to put
that if
Windows
you
on
wanted
it.
to. And
But there's
like,
Right.
nothing stopping you.
a Windows key can be had for like $20 if you go through some less scrupulous channels.
Yeah.
Right, but then we start revisiting the argument, like,
No, 100%. I don't think that's
who is this really for then? You
Yeah,
know?
I don't
But like, I'm
think-
sure people will do that. I'm sure some people will do that. But this is the target to me for this are people who like to play on console but want to be on Steam,
Yeah, which I think is like a lot of people.
which is
market
increasingly
for this,
going
too.
an increasing amount of people. Yeah,
There's
Here's the other
also an
market.
attraction to like
College students.
college students, but like you want your library. There's like a protection of your digital library that I feel more secure on Steam than anywhere else. When I buy a game on Steam, I feel like that game is mine. I know that game will be
Forever.
playable on my next device.
Yeah.
Increasingly, there are new devices coming that are going to be able to play those games, and that's all very appealing to me in a way that, like, if I were to go out and buy a PS5, it's probably all the games I buy would probably be playable on the PS6. I think that's a fairly safe assessment. I would not feel comfortable assuming that about a PS7, a PS8, down the
Yeah.
line.
See, so here's my assumption, and this is a slight tangent, but we'll go there. I think it has to be this way now, right? It has to be this way, otherwise everyone just loses to Steam.
Yeah.
Right? It has to be. So I think Xbox realizes this, PlayStation realizes, I think Nintendo realizes this. Like, going forward,
Backwards compatibility is a must.
has to be a thing. It has to.
But on that
because
note-
let me tell you something. If Sony, in their infinite wisdom, says I cannot play PS5 and PS4 games on my PS6,
You
I'm
won't go.
gone.
Really?
I will not get a PlayStation 6.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Right?
See, that's
that
interesting
That
to
would
me.
totally kill console gaming for me.
Because that actually doesn't bother me that much as some, like, I was talking to a friend and I mentioned the Steam machine to him, and I expected him to be more excited because he'd been talking about building a PC, but he said, like, can I run the Xbox app on it and play my Xbox games? And I was like, I guess if you put a ton if you put a ton of work into it, you could, but I wouldn't really recommend
possible.
it. And I guess there is just an aversion people have to having more than one box plugged into their TV. It doesn't bother me so much, but people
My
don't.
coworker, one of
want
my
some consoles.
coworkers who has been wanting to build a PC,
Yeah.
saw this and is now just going to buy a Steam machine.
Yeah.
Because they were an Xbox gamer for the longest time, but they're sick of all of the Game Pass.
I think
updates
that's how
and
this is
everything.
going to go, right? This is
Yeah.
going to
They
eat
actually
Xbox's
bumped down
lunch.
a tier.
Especially Xbox, right? Like, we're talking about Nintendo and PlayStation, which I think they could scratch at those audiences if they price this right. But regardless of what they price this, they are demolishing Xbox.
I
right?
think
Like, 'cause
even if they price this thing high, like 600, like, because this is stronger than a Series S, and a Series X costs $650 now, right?
now it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, if you're choosing between your $650 Series X and your $700 Steam machine, I don't know about you guys, but I go Steam machine every day of the week.
And especially if you're kind of plugged into what Xbox is doing next.
Yeah.
Next Xbox is going to be basically this, but
It'll probably be
like
stronger.
a higher end
Yeah.
version, right? They've come out and said they want to target it towards like a premium audience. So I'm
Right.
assuming their console is going to be $1,000 PC console hybrid, which
Which is
you know,
not as
like-
attractive a premise to me.
exactly, who are you targeting? Like, if this Steam machine, like if Valve comes out and says this is $1,000, I'm like, what the
Yeah,
hell
we're
are
done,
you doing?
yeah.
What are you
So-
doing? Right? Because how brilliant would it be if they come out and say this is $500? Xbox comes out and says ours is $1,000, but look, it's like 4 times as strong. No one's gonna care, right? No one will care. Especially with how Xbox has handled kind of their first party portfolio and like their Game Pass updates this generation.
So as someone who's very plugged into Valve, I just want to talk my theories on pricing for a minute. Getting the Steam Deck down to $400 was really impressive. I mean, nobody's been able to sell a handheld PC at $400 other than Steam, other than Valve.
Right, because all the other ones are much higher, right? Like the
They're much
Asus
higher
ones
cost and not that much higher spec. They're slightly higher spec. Some of them are much higher
Right.
spec now, but at the time they were slightly higher spec and twice the price. And part of how they did that is way overcharging you for storage. The original Steam Deck LCD was 64 gig, and it was essentially a micro SD card. It wasn't even an SSD. And it was only 64 gigs of storage. And they didn't, I don't think, expect to sell that many of that unit. And they were kind of right in that even though it was like $100 more to get the 256 gig model and then another $100 more than that to get the 512 model, people were buying those higher models. And I think the strategy was to use those more expensive models to subsidize that lower cost model a little bit to make that a little less painful. And I suspect they're going to do that again. I think the cheapest Steam
There's
machine...
a 500 gig model, right? And a 2 terabyte.
And I suspect that's going to be like a $500, $650, $700 split there. And I think that's a great strategy, especially how easy it is for somebody who like wants to put in a little work. They showed you just pop the plate off and you can put an SSD in it. It would take even a layman.
Plus, I mean, doesn't this thing take like micro SD cards too, or something?
It also, all of the new Steam device. Well, I guess this controller doesn't, but the Steam Deck. So not only do the Steam Deck, the Steam Frame, and the Steam Machine all take micro SD cards, I could put a micro SD card in my Steam Deck, download my game library, pop that micro SD out, and put it in my Steam Machine, and all those games are going to run.
Yeah.
With no faffing. Like, this is like an Apple level ecosystem almost that they're concocting, but exclusively like around gaming. They're not really, and I think that's fascinating in its own right. The hardware ecosystem, the Steam controller being so easy to use across devices. I don't know when we're going to get into that. I imagine we still have some more Steam Machine stuff to talk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But the Steam Frame tracks just like the PS4 controllers did in PlayStation VR. The Steam Frame tracks the Steam controller. It has the IRs on it so that can be tracked in VR. That's huge. We'll talk about that later. I don't know. I think the ecosystem side of this is really interesting. As like they want Steam to be the place to buy games. They don't want you, because I've talked on the show a lot about like, do I want to buy a game on Switch or do I want to buy it on Steam? Do I want to buy a game on Oculus because that's my standalone VR headset, or do I want to buy it on Steam? And Valve has just come to me and said, "Child, you do not need to have these impure thoughts any longer. You will buy the game on Steam and you will feel great about it."
I really like the pivot. Like Valve's pivoting and it's going to work. It's now a storefront war for your living room instead of just a box war.
Yeah.
Like, whose storefront's better? And Valve has just automatically been in the business for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And they've made a storefront that is
the
untouchable by any competition.
Also,
I think it's fascinating because like
free online play, free online multiplayer, free online multiplayer.
You get this thing
but like
free.
That's great, but I don't play multiplayer games.
I know you don't, but the overwhelming majority of gamers are touching online multiplayer at some point.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, right? Like, it's fascinating because like Steam has been a digital platform for so long now, and it's been growing and growing, and it's humongous as a digital platform now.
Yeah.
And now that they have this enormous digital ecosystem, they are venturing into hardware. Like, I know that, like I said earlier, there was a Steam console before. No one really talks about that.
That was a PC, though. That was really a PC. It was running...
Honestly,
right. But like my point
Steam
is...
machine was ahead of its time. It was...
my point is this is their concerted console effort.
Yeah.
Like, they are for sure putting a stake in the ground and saying, we are entering this space now. And I think it's fascinating to see like how this will affect the rest of the space, the console space.
So I don't know how true this is, but they said that this move was inspired in part by the number, I think it was something like 15 or 20% of Steam Deck users at any given time were playing with their Steam Deck docked to another display.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
And that's
fascinating to me.
That is fascinating because the Steam Deck, I love it. I do. I love that device. Significantly underpowered to like even a pretty tame gaming PC. It's not as good as a PS4. It's similar to a PS4 once you account for resolution.
I mean, it really just goes to show, like, and I know PC players like make fun of it all the time. Couch gaming is a thing.
It's great,
right? Like, it absolutely is a thing.
It's 100%.
Like, yes, I understand I could hook my PC up via HDMI or stream it to my TV. I don't want to do any of those things.
Yeah.
I want to have a simple box where I turn it on and play my game, right? And this accomplishes that, which I think it should put everyone else on notice.
Yeah.
Like, and again, right, I hate to keep coming back to it, but the price matters so much.
The price matters a lot. $600 and I'm like sighing, this is okay.
It has to be $500, dude.
I'd love it
I
to
think
be $500.
If they're smart, and like, I guess it just depends on their intention, because we know they're smart, right? Like, if they really want to compete it's $500. But the thing about Valve, unlike PlayStation, unlike Nintendo, unlike Microsoft, they're a private company, right? They don't have to compete. No. They don't have an imperative to make as much money as possible, right? So their intentions are a little more, I guess, obscured than everyone else's.
They have said, and this is painful for everyone to hear, they have said that they plan to price this thing like a pre-built PC, not like a console. They're not going to take a bath on it. Like, they're not going to subsidize it. Now, they wouldn't be theoretically, they would not be subsidizing it at $500 if the numbers I've seen are true. I
think its power supply is what, 200 watts?
I think something like that. It's a very cheap build.
So low too. That's such a low power consumption.
So my other point is, like, a Mac Mini can be had for $500 right now. If that's what they mean by a pre-built PC that they're competing with. You know, there are pre-built PCs in the $600 to $700 range.
Yeah, but that's not what they meant.
Well, I don't know that's what I have no idea what they.
I feel like they wouldn't. I feel like they wouldn't use that language.
Yeah.
Right. If that's what they meant. Personally,
since it's using custom parts instead of consumer grade parts, they will be able to reduce that cost. And they're probably not very, very expensive pieces of technology.
I mean this in the kindest way. These are AMD's garbage bin parts. These are 7600M that didn't sell. These are... I mean, the processor's actually good. The processor actually, like, beats the snot out of the current consoles. But, like, who cares, kind of? The GPU is what really matters here. And it is a bargain bin part. It is something that I feel like they were able to get very cheap out of AMD. And so
with a special deal.
Right. And that's the thing, right? Like, if any consumer, right, like... Even the most layman of consumers, they're going to Google the specs on this thing, right? Like, should I get this thing or a PS5? I'm sure that Google search has skyrocketed, right, in the past week or so.
And the answer is tough because we don't know the price.
Exactly, right? Like, the answer will fully depend on the price.
Yeah.
Because I think if this is 600 plus and you're going to be very much a casual gamer, PS5 makes sense, right?
Yeah. Until you account for online multiplayer. If you're somebody who's going to play online, that's 1 year of online multiplayer, and the prices are the same now. Now, are casual gamers going to run those numbers? I don't know. I would in their place because I am very budget conscious, and also, like, I'm a person who always was attracted to Steam even before I was really in the ecosystem. But I don't know. I think streamers are going to have a huge impact on this too, because they control the language of gaming right now, and they love this thing. Like,
well, I was also going to say, this thing has already made a splash. Already made a splash with people outside of the space. People
Call it the chongle, the game.
The chongle.
So
people on the very, like, people who don't talk about video
fringe,
games on a podcast every week, right? Like, we're a very kind of enthusiast thing. Mainstream has picked up on this and are very interested, right? So I think it's up to Valve to strike while the iron is hot. You could probably sell like 10, 20 plus million copies of this thing if you price it right. But do they care about that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I assume they do, but I don't know.
I mean,
I called my dad.
Gabe Newell needs to finance a new yacht, but
to do research on Starfish or whatever.
Yeah, he's doing
it's brain computer interface stuff. The Starfish are tangential to that. He's like super into that stuff.
But I think Gabe's gonna upload himself into
That's
the
his
Matrix
plan.
and run
Yeah,
Valve
he wants
forever.
to be
honestly
immortal.
I want immortal Gabe. Let him cook. Let him cook. Let him live forever.
But I called my dad earlier this week, and I was like, "Hey, did you hear about the new Steam console?" And he was like, "Yeah, it looks really cool." Like, he'd heard about it. Like, I've been really
mainstream
temperature checking this against a lot of different people. My friend Ashley had heard of it, and she was like, her boyfriend games a lot, but she's more casual. But they were in, like, price doesn't matter mode. They're getting one. Like, they just liked it so much. They thought it was so cool.
Yeah, I might buy one for my girlfriend.
Exactly.
So that's right. Like,
this is absolutely a great second PC device at $500 or $600. We had Aaron in the Discord was talking about that. But even for me, like, if I was going to get a second PC so that, like, I don't know, if I was in a household that had 2 PC users, I'm not right now, but this would be a great second PC buy.
If I had like a kid, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think Aaron's our use case here.
Yeah.
He has kids. If I had a kid and they wanted a PC, I'd buy them a Steam machine.
Yeah.
It's small, it fits right, Probably.
And if they ever get their tinkering hats on, they can do
mod
with it.
Yeah, they can mod
what they want.
This can play the good version of Minecraft that you can mod. Like,
yeah, it can do everything a console can do. Yeah, without any of the hassle of a PC or any of the hassle of like a PC.
And just to speak to how like well, and this isn't even like credit to Valve. This is credit to developers for supporting the Steam Deck. But I am someone who always opens the settings menu when I launch a game because I'm a PC gamer. When I do that on
console too.
When I do that on my Steam Deck, I end up regretting it almost 100% of the time. Because if I change anything, like it boots in and it has whatever the target frame rate is and it hits it and it gets on base.
Well, yeah, that makes sense on a fixed device like the Steam Deck.
That's going to be true on the Steam machine.
I wouldn't be doing that on the Steam machine either.
Yeah,
right?
you should. Yeah, well, what I'm saying is like you will. They're gonna nail it, is what I'm saying.
Well, now I'm curious though. Like, do we see console prioritize frame rate, prioritize resolution switches on games targeting Steam machine now?
I bet we do. Because we on Steam Deck there was no reason to do that because it's like, God willing, we can get this thing running.
Hopefully it runs. Yeah, exactly.
But I bet you do on the Steam machine. See a prioritize.
Valve,
yeah.
The thing about Valve is when they announce a new piece of hardware that like a PC hardware, suddenly a couple years later, everyone else wants to release that same exact thing.
I think that's going to be true
I guarantee you, here's my bold prediction that'll probably 100% come true because it's already happened before. 3-4 years down the line, every other company's gonna release their own GameCube.
I don't even think it'll take that long. I bet we see another one of these by.
So you're talking about like an Asus manufactured
like mini
Steam machine
at $1,000.
Mini form factor at $1,000. They're gonna do it,
and it's gonna have like an actual a significantly better spec.
If Valve I think hits a market here, and I think Valve has not made a misstep in a while in hitting a market. Their last misstep was the last Steam machine, and that's just because they were way ahead of their time.
Right.
People weren't ready for a desktop, for a living room PC yet.
This thing is going to work because they're doing the hardware, but it will continue to work off of that hardware as long as they've set this baseline and like this operating system that people can put on it, which is already happening on other handhelds. There are already other handhelds you can buy with SteamOS on them. And they do outcompete and so I actually find it unlikely we ever get a Steam Machine 2 for that reason. I mean, we might not. But really, Valve is setting the blueprint because they don't care about hardware. They're not that interested in that. They want people on that ecosystem. The software is critical, but I don't know if they're going to continue releasing Steam Decks and Steam Machines down the line.
I think they will. I think we'll get a sequel.
I actually think they will too. I think they're beginning to change.
Maybe
they're already talking about the Steam Deck 2. They're saying they are going to release it only when it's like good and
when it's
significantly more powerful than the Steam Deck. I think Valve is beginning to get interested in hardware,
and it benefits their storefront too because they can also say if you have something that's similar in specs to a Steam Deck or a Steam Machine, like a PC, you see that Steam Deck or Steam Machine verified, and you know it's just going to run.
Yeah,
like it'll run on a Steam machine, it'll run on my PC.
100%.
That's such a good mark of quality that will help ensure consumer trust when they go to buy something.
And it's not just that; it's that the if something is Steam Deck verified, I'm gonna have a good experience on it with a controller on my PC.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna have to get up and like walk over to my keyboard to type my name in or something. Yeah.
I mean, all of these steps is it's making their marketplace better. And you look at its competitors in the space. What is Epic Games doing? The best thing that's on Epic Games is you can play NFT games.
Yeah, and they have exclusives. Dead. They have timed exclusives.
Like, I don't even think they have many of those left. I haven't seen an Epic exclusive in a while.
Alan Wake 2 is Epic exclusive, and I'm still mad about it.
That definitely hurt that game heavily.
Yeah. It hurt me too.
The only thing keeping the Epic Game Store alive is the fact that they give out 2 free games a month or something like that, and Fortnite. Like, no one else is going to that store. I don't even open up that storefront. I've bought entire games on that storefront, only to later buy them on Steam because I'd rather just have it on Steam.
Totally.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Like, it just makes sense. It's such a bad launcher that I don't use it for any purpose.
Yeah.
I bought Satisfactory twice for a reason.
Notably, though, you will be able to play your Epic Games library, like all those free games, going to be playable on the GameCube. They're going to be playable on the Steam machine. You are going to have to boot into a desktop and like do that stuff.
Right. And I think that's the most important point, especially to maybe people listening to this that are just trying to get like a temperature check on this thing. This is a console PC hybrid. So if you want to use it as a console, you absolutely could do so. Never have to see Windows in your life on that thing. Yeah. Or if you want to use it as a PC, you absolutely can do that too. Install Epic Game Store, install Xbox Game Pass, do all of those things. And I think, you know, again, if they price this right and it hits the mainstream, I really do think this is going to kick off an era of console PC hybrids that I think Microsoft was trying to start with their next generation console.
I think Microsoft dropped the ball. I think I've heard rumors that their next console is going to be like a console PC hybrid, and I think the pricing was like $1,000 something.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I haven't.
The rumor is that they're targeting like a high end, but like the biggest death knell to me is that they've said that they want to build their console UI off of Windows, and I'm like,
it's just not going to work. We've already seen it not work. Like they have their gaming UI out on some of the handhelds, and people don't like it. It's not just that they don't like it. It's not a UI issue. It is a UX issue. It is. I try to boot a game, and I get a pop-up window, and I need a mouse to interact with that pop-up window, and those are solved problems. Valve has solved those problems on SteamOS. You do not get that experience.
Yeah, and case in point, right? Like, obviously, they're still developing their UI, whatever, so maybe give them the benefit of the doubt. But you look at the Xbox Ally, their handheld that they just released is fraught with issues like this, right? Where you have to like boot it into PC mode to fix an issue or two, and that's absolutely not the primary consumer of this device what they want to do.
Like, I'm gonna say it, Windows is an OS that could do with dropping everything and starting from scratch, because Windows has accumulated about 20 years worth of bloat and backwards compatibility code that is required because every business in the world
it's for that
Windows.
Very reason that it's never going to happen, right? Because like the world is already built on Windows, right?
But this is huge.
Businesses are built on Windows.
So
like Windows could be a very lean operating system. You don't need much, but it has all that backwards code and backwards systems just because somewhere down the line there is like a warship that runs on the latest version of Windows that requires a code base that was developed by someone in the 80s.
That's the other really interesting thing the Steam machine could do, though. If this thing does, and I'm not even going to say, I think if we get 5 million of these out there, along with the 5 million Steam Decks, that is going to be enough pressure that Battlefield 6 is not going to be able to not support Linux. Because that is the truth right now. Battlefield 6 is one of the hottest multiplayer games right now, and you cannot, even though it would probably run great on a Steam Deck, you cannot play it because their anti-cheat does not support Linux. You can't play Fortnite on it because Tim Sweeney has essentially a business move. He doesn't want to get people playing on Steam Decks. He doesn't, he thinks it is because of the Epic Games Store.
I will say though, in the anti-cheat war, I think EA's anti-cheat is stellar.
It's extremely good, but
it's like
they need to be forced to support Linux.
Yeah.
Even if they just support the Steam machine, I'll bite that bullet. Even if they find a way to do it, because some developers have done that. They don't really support Linux, but they have like made an exception for the Steam machine or for the Steam Deck, and I think that is
boot are
fine.
Yeah,
and I mean, like, the more this hardware sells, the more Valve hardware there is out in the wild, the more it pressures developers to make those decisions. So,
did you guys see that Baldur's Gate? It's not just settings anymore. Baldur's Gate actually now has like a specific Steam Deck build. I mean, it's a Linux build. But they ported the game to Linux to improve performance on Steam Deck because that was such a big use case for that game.
Yeah.
And
that's the kind of stuff we'll see.
That Valve has cracked the code also with Windows emulation in Linux.
Yeah. I assume the game is going to work on my Steam Deck before I even look.
It is so
performance
nuts
allowing.
That Proton sometimes performs better than native Windows does.
Yeah. In games like Elden Ring, that was the case.
That's crazy. How do you as a company create a Windows emulation system that does better at running a game than native Windows?
Well, there are things that Linux just does better, and so you get that for free. For instance, I'm not going to get too in the weeds on this. I'm going to give one example, but the CPU scheduler on Linux is just a more efficient piece of software than the Windows one. And so every day of the week, your CPU scheduling, whatever the hell that means. I don't even know. I'm a software engineer. Don't write me about this, but that is going to be more performant on Linux than on Windows.
And I think it's also because Yeah, I think it's also because Linux isn't afraid to drop old pieces of code that are just outdated. Windows can't. You can't if you're a Microsoft developer working on Windows software and you see a piece of code, you really can't touch that without breaking a good chunk of your user base's experience.
There is also, Valve talked about this a little bit with regards to the Steam frame, but there are parts of Proton that are written specific to games. Like they will boot into a game and they will say, this should run. And they'll tinker with it. They'll like see an instruction that isn't implemented in Proton, or maybe it's implemented poorly, and they will fix it. And then they will get the game running how they kind of expect it to on the hardware. And they're like, okay, we did it. Game one.
Yeah.
That's neat. That's good. Like the Valve engineers working on this are testing every single game.
Nah, that's not true.
Well, most games.
They didn't test Perspectrum, and I don't know how to get them to do it. Perspectrum runs flawlessly on the Steam Deck, but I don't know how to get that verified badge.
Probably write Valve.
Yeah, I would probably have to.
You'd
probably have to call my
Valve.
publisher and
give Jordan a little call.
Yeah, but
dock into Gabe Newell's submarine garage.
So Ammon, do you know this?
Pull up to his yacht.
You can just email Gabe Newell and he will answer.
Yeah,
really? That's crazy.
What else? He's retired. He lives on his yacht with a full hospital and a 16 computer LAN center.
But you got to imagine, like,
get on Gaben's yacht and play him in Counter-Strike.
If this is common knowledge, you got to imagine he gets thousands, hundreds of thousands.
He
of
answers.
Emails.
He is notoriously. He will probably.
Does he answer? Or does he have a team that answers?
No, he answers, and he'll answer because he is notoriously chatty. If you talk to him about a subject he's interested in, the most recent one that was posted on Reddit was somebody like who was getting into scuba diving and he knew Gabe Newell was also into scuba diving, and they were like having a back and forth about it. Now, if you ask him when Half-Life 3 is going to come out, he's probably not going to write you back.
Going to give you, I don't know.
Probably next year. Honestly,
it's probably coming in March.
Year.
Yeah,
it's probably coming.
We don't have
which is crazy.
I
fully believe it. I fully believe it is coming now. Next year.
I think Half-Life 3 is coming before GTA 6, and that is a prediction I will stand on business with. I don't care.
So, dude,
no way.
I kind of want to. We've been on this for about 40 minutes. I kind of want to move on to the controller for a minute, if you guys.
Yeah, let's talk about the controller.
Looks hideous, but I cannot wait to play with it.
Yeah, I think. Listen, my coworker was like, "Yeah, your co-host, what was his name? Really likes it, right?"
I love it.
Like, yeah, Connor's really.
So I was
going to
say, Connor, sorry to break your heart. Steam Controller 1, it looks like a piece of garbage to me. I know you love that thing.
Everyone thought that. Everyone thinks that until they use it.
However, this thing I actually think looks quite sleek. And I'm interested
You like the
in
look
this.
of it.
Yeah, I like the look of it, and I think it looks pretty ergonomic. I could do without the touchpads, but it's fine.
No, but it's nice because it has near feature parity with something like the DualSense. It's missing the fancy triggers.
Well, the Steam Controller 1 did not have a D-pad, right?
No, it had a touchpad D-pad. Yeah.
Okay, this one has a D-pad and a touchpad, right? And I think that's a huge improvement.
The Steam Controller 1 only had one control stick too. It replaced the right control stick and the D-pad with touchpads. Yeah,
that's crazy that you stand that thing so hard.
Worked. So you'll have to try it once you get one, but like once you've controlled a camera in a third-person game with a touchpad instead of with a joystick, you will wonder why anyone has ever used a joystick, because it is so much better.
That's got to be a see it to believe it type thing.
It 100% is. But so the touchpads, the way they work on the Steam controller, and this is all Magic software and haptics, but it doesn't feel like a touchpad. It feels more like a trackball. And so you have momentum and you can swipe across it and then slam your finger down to stop it. It has a momentum. And so because of that, you can turn your camera really quickly and precisely. And it's infuriating to me to play a Souls game on any other controller now, because I can bind the run button to one of the back paddles and then have full camera control while I'm moving, full, very accurate camera control. It's just a hard thing to describe until you've used it. But I cannot wait to have this controller on my desk. Of everything Valve announced, this is what I'm most excited for.
Yeah.
And
when they made their announcement, I said the controller I'm probably going to get.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, I guess it does depend on the price once again, but if it's priced appropriately, I probably will pick up a Steam machine as well. But
the controller will
the controller looks pretty nice.
The controller will likely be between $80 and $100, and I'm kind of firm on that.
Which is nowadays that's
normal.
what controllers cost. Yeah,
and
unfortunately,
this is the only OEM magnetic joystick. You've probably heard of Hall effect joysticks. These are TMR, which is just a very similar technology that is more power efficient. And these are joysticks that are not going to drift on you, basically. They're going to last a really, really long time. This controller in general should last a very long time. It has... Now, they've been very careful not to compare to consoles at all, but to hear them talk, the haptics should be very similar to Joy-Con 2 or PS5 DualSense haptics.
Yeah.
Whether or not those get implemented in games is an entirely different discussion. I think that's going to depend on adoption, but the Steam Controller 1 also had some really good haptics that no game used ever. It was just rumble.
Right, and I think there's a chance that haptics are more popular on this thing simply because PS5 has made it more popular.
If they can intercept PS5 haptics and and translate them to this controller somehow, which is not unbelievable.
It seems possible.
That would make me very happy. It's got grip detection, which is like a crazy feature I don't know that I want particularly. Apparently that's mostly for gyro aim, which I do love gyro aim. I don't know. I just think this controller looks great. I cannot wait to use it. It is like to the point that every time I pick up my current controller now, I'm like, the Steam controller will be here soon.
From a purely visual perspective, I do appreciate that it has a premium quality to it that the first Steam controller heavily lacked.
Significantly lacked, yeah.
Yeah. So I think just looking at it, it feels like it'll have a good weight to it. It'll be ergonomically pleasing,
rechargeable battery in it. Thank God. I hated something about the shape of the original Steam Deck. My rechargeable AA's would get stuck in it. It was very difficult to get them out. Weird. I had to tie some floss around the battery to kind of a janky setup. Normal batteries were fine. It was only rechargeables, and I was buying cheap ones, so that was probably part of it. But still, it'll be nice to not have that problem. The little puck is cool. This should be a very, very low latency controller. I don't know if that's worth bragging about. I imagine PlayStation and Xbox are also extremely low latency. Yeah. But, it's there. It's great. You can have 4 of them. There's not going to be any Bluetooth interference. That's great. Super simple. You slap it down and the puck attaches to it to charge it. That's really nice. Maybe not as nice as the 8-bit do cradles that they sell with, aesthetically at least, but still really cool. I just... Oh my God, that's something, the Steam frame we didn't even talk about. You're going to be able to use any controller on God's green earth on that thing. Not the Steam frame.
Well, we haven't talked about the Steam frame.
The Steam machine. I don't know if you guys know this. Steam Input has mappings for GameCube controllers. If I plug a GameCube controller
I didn't know GameCube. That's
into
crazy.
my PC, it actually has the icons and everything to go through the UI and bind all the buttons on a GameCube controller. I saw this on Reddit the other day. I haven't tried it myself. I assume it's real. Otherwise, I got. But it's not surprising to me because it supports...
but even if that's not real, right? If you have a PS5 controller, PS4 controller, 100%. Xbox controller, you can just use it. And it's if seamless. I do that on Steam. Now, right? So it's
And if you're playing local co-op games and you just have a plethora of controllers from different consoles, you're going to be able to hook them all up, Joy-Cons, Xbox controllers, PS5 controllers, whatever, and you're going to be able to play games with your friends. They can each choose the controller they prefer, I guess, and you're going to be able to play.
Right. So, moral of the story is you do not have to buy the new Steam controller to enjoy your Steam machine.
No, I do suspect it's going to be bundled. I don't think you're going to... They might sell it without it.
I certainly hope it is, yeah.
There will definitely be a bundle. They said there would be a bundle. You might be able to buy a Steam machine without a controller. I find that kind of unlikely, though. It would be a little silly, I feel like.
Mouse keyboard kind of thing?
Yeah, that use case definitely exists, but I think they're really pushing the controller, so I feel like they're probably going to bundle those.
Especially, with them positioning it as a console.
Yeah,
it is a console PC hybrid, but they're heavily leaning into the console side.
It'd be so frustrating if grandma accidentally bought the wrong thing, and you didn't have a controller for your new console.
Right.
But I'm super excited for this thing. VR tracked, looks super comfortable in the hands, and it's just nice to have a best controller, which I think this is. It does everything. It has all the features I want. It doesn't have some LED that's blinding me at night like my 8-bit do does. I think it will just be an objectively best controller, maybe next to the DualSense, because I don't know how those features are going to be implemented.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to get my hands on it to try it, right? Like, there's so many things with the controller. Like, on paper, you can list all the specs all you want, but the second you hold it, if it doesn't feel right, then it's
but after
trash, right?
the Steam Deck,
but I'm sure,
I think
I'm sure like they've nailed the ergonomics of this thing. But I will say, just to kind of highlight how good controllers are nowadays, I think all the modern controllers from like Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox are really strong now, right? Like I think this latest generation, they're the strongest they've ever been, right? Like Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller, probably the most comfortable controller I've ever held.
I haven't tried it yet.
Ergonomics wise, I love that thing. So
yeah,
controllers just across the board are very good. So even if you want to use something else for your Steam machine, you can absolutely do so without any issues.
But I want to be on the record for this.
I am keeping my eye on this thing,
because I know this is crazy. I would pay $200 for this controller right now.
That's crazy.
I think it is, like, I want it that bad. Like, I really want this controller. But I think it'll be $8.
No, yeah.
I mean, I could see as low as $60. The Steam controller was very competitively priced. It was cheaper than an Xbox controller at the time.
Yeah.
The original Steam controller.
No, I think I'd probably pay up to $99 for it.
$99 I'm not even sweating. I might buy 2 of these just because I know the history of discontinuation of these.
Right. You say that, right? Like,
I don't think we're worried
different.
about that.
This feels like
different.
a different Valve now, right? It feels different, but I guess we'll see. And now, last but not least, the Steam frame.
So
I'm excited.
New VR.
Are you? I want to hear your opinion on this, Evan, because I think me and Mike are both hot on this.
So yeah, I mean, like, it was whatever to me. I think it's cool, right? But like, I'm also not as into VR as you guys are.
Yeah.
Right. And like, we had a little. You mentioned something in the Discord, and I responded with like, software matters more than hardware, and you disagreed with that. And like, I kind of want to expand on that a little bit. Where like I absolutely agree, there are killer VR experiences right now. Half-Life Alyx, Beat Saber, right? Like there's so many very good VR games. But there is not a VR game that has made people go out in droves and buy VR headsets.
It would have been Half-Life Alyx. I think and I think it might be Half-Life Alyx again this time. Because there has not been an accessible PC first headset until, well, price dependent. But
the price for this thing hasn't been revealed either, has it?
No. And I'm expecting, based on the specs, I could see 600. I could see,
because they're kind of competing with MetaQuest here.
Yeah,
right? That's the sense I got.
But MetaQuest for sure subsidizes their hardware. For sure. Like they might even be selling at a loss on the Quest 3 at $500. I would be flabbergasted if this thing is $500. I think $600. I think $700 is most likely. I actually think, just in general, there was a leaked price of $1,200 for the Valve Deckard. I actually suspect that's going to be a bundle with all 3 pieces of hardware at $1,200.
All 3? You think so, huh?
Yeah, I think you're going to get your $500 frame. You're going to get your $500 machine plus controller and your $700 Steam frame. And
I mean, if those are the prices, I think they've done a good job.
Yeah, me too. Because I think this headset,
if those are,
this headset is worth $700. I think. Now there's stuff that it doesn't have, and there are reasons. Like it does not have OLED displays.
That's a big. I think that's a big negative thing nowadays.
It's complicated because OLEDs actually have issues in VR. Now we're learning, like, they have a persistence issue, which is hilarious because you would think that's LCDs, but actually OLEDs have a worse, in order to get them bright enough to work in VR, you start running into persistence issues that can cause motion sickness. Like you get very sick using the PSVR 2. This is likely one of the reasons.
But I got sick using the PSVR 1 as well.
Right. Well, that was probably because I was running at 60 frames per second.
Weak with VR.
Yeah.
No, I think PSVR 1 was running at 90, actually.
The PSVR 2 is notoriously bad for motion sickness, though, among VR headsets. Its reprojection method, and it also like boosted. It did HDR, and HDR is actually like ill-advised in VR because it causes motion sickness. Or maybe it was the way they did HDR. I don't know. I don't really understand these things that well, if I'm being honest. But the Steam frame, it hits a lot of things. I think the 2 most important things for the Steam frame are going to be one price, obviously, but the second I think is comfort. The Steam Frame comfort looks really, really good. Like when you look at the weight, it's lighter than a Quest, which is huge, lighter than a Quest 3. A Quest 3 is like 520 grams, something like that. This is 480 total, but only 180 grams of that is actually on your face. The rest is in the battery in the back, so it's like perfectly balanced. And also, a MetaQuest is practically unusable out of the box because the strap that it comes with is so bad. And the strap for the Steam Frame looks comfortable to me, especially at those weights. I actually think this thing is going to be usable out of the box, which is going to contribute to the price because a MetaQuest 3 is actually more like $600 once you buy enough accessories that it is a usable device.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree or disagree with that, Mike. You've used Quest 2 quite a bit.
Yeah, the straps are terrible.
The straps are horrible.
And
so I really think this device, like, I'm sad that they didn't talk about this more. They talked about the specs so much. The people reviewing it really didn't talk about comfort. Upload VR said that it felt like wearing a sleep mask. If that is true, this is revolutionary. But like I find that dubious at best, right?
Well, I'm sure it's like wearing a sleep mask if there's nothing on the screen. But the second there's stuff happening, like
well, I mean literally
it's
just
harder.
Comfort, like just how it feels on your head. How light is it? How fast is it to put it on and take it
I guess
off?
like maybe this is a me thing, but like even if it feels comfortable, light on my head, like the second that there's something happening, then like like it matters a lot more. Like it might be comfortable just in a vacuum, but like actually using it to play.
You mean like if it's moving around, or are you talking about motion sickness?
I guess both, right?
Okay.
Like,
yeah, I mean, we don't know yet because the games that they showed it playing were like Half-Life Alyx. They were games that do not demand you swing your head around, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, but you've never used a wireless headset either, have you, Ahmed?
I think I have it like like
like a VR cafe.
Yeah, something like that.
It's a game changer to me.
That is huge.
I couldn't go back to the wire. And also, like, I had a pretty good experience with my Quest wireless, but it did, like, once an hour or so, like, like stutter for a second. And the claim is that because this has it's a USB dongle that you plug in, and it's like an exclusive 6 gigahertz router that goes to an exclusive antenna, and all it handles is the video and audio for your game between the headset and the PC. And it should be flawless, regardless of your network setup, regardless of everything. And that's going to be really cool. I want this device, but I want this device price dependent. I really don't think this is for people that already have a Quest and stuff. I don't think that's who they're targeting. I think what they keep saying over and over with all these devices is that they're targeting the existing Steam library. So I really think they're like, hey, we made Half-Life Alyx, and it was hardware that stopped people from playing it. It was that people didn't want to spend $1,000 on an index. People didn't want to have this. The cord is a deal breaker for so many people. And I kind of agree, because like I couldn't play VR if I had to be near my computer. I typically play, if you're watching the video, right in front of that hallway back there is like a pretty big open space. That's where I like to play VR. I have plenty of space there. I don't have to move any furniture. Once you make it wireless, it works. It doesn't really work outside of like sim racing. A lot of people are into sim games, Elite Dangerous, stuff like that. That's fine seated.
So Elite Dangerous actually dropped their VR support a couple years ago. Yeah, it doesn't work with Odyssey. So any on-foot stuff does not support VR.
That's so strange. Okay. Yeah. It was probably a very niche,
Yeah, not a lot of people use it to pilot, but it was also only gamepad that you could control it with. So if you didn't have a HOTAS.
Couldn't do HOTAS. No Man's Sky is also a big VR game.
No Man's Sky has excellent VR support.
No Man's Sky feels like it was made for VR and ported to flat screen to me. Like it is that compelling an experience in VR. It is so good. It's really good in PSVR 2 as well, Amit. I don't know if you've ever tried it. I know you just don't. I know you get sick, so you don't play it much. But
no, like one of these days I need to jump back into VR. But I think the larger point that I kind of want to back is that even after all this time, after all this effort, VR, it isn't niche, but it also has not taken off the way we kind of predicted it would on this show.
Yeah.
Right. And I do think Valve is maybe trying to rectify that, but I also think that they are aware enough to know that this will probably be the least popular of the 3 hardware offerings they have.
The rumor is that they're only making 500,000 of these this year or per year.
Yeah.
Like they're not expecting this to set the world on fire. I find this a very compelling device for a few reasons. I actually we did a VR episode a while back that was like I made a list of things a headset needed to have for me to upgrade. This does not have all of them. But one that I think is really compelling is that it's a PC. You can put
it is a PC.
You can
well.
put this thing on, and you can boot into a Linux desktop. And like, I only need a laptop like twice a year right now, but I do need a laptop like twice a year. I would rather buy this device and be very awkward the twice a year that I need a laptop and have the cool VR thing than I would like spend $600 on a laptop or whatever.
So how do they handle like a keyboard? Is it a virtual keyboard or do they?
I'm just going to use a Bluetooth
like have
keyboard.
a USB connector. Right, okay.
It has a USB-C in the back. It's only 2.0, which is fine for like a keyboard or something. But I'm just going to use a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse with it. If I do that, I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, I think I think that's the most interesting thing I heard about this device, that it is indeed also a PC.
And
it's
running ARM, and they wrote another translation layer called FEX that translates x86 to ARM and then Windows to Linux. And this is running x86 Windows games on an ARM Linux PC on your face and getting playable frame rates. Like this is playing a lot of VR targets like 1060, 1070 graphics cards. Yeah. And this is able to play those for the most part, standalone on the headset. Now that is not their primary intent. Their primary intent is for this to be a device that streams from your PC to it. But you can play flat screen games in a big theater, which is something you've been able to do on PSVR. It's something you've been able to do. But I think that's
pretty common.
Immediately more compelling now that it's wireless and more comfortable. Assuming the comfort is there. And then also the fact that you can do it locally, the fact that like I could take this to my parents' place and play Hades on a giant screen while, they go to bed before me, and I could pop my headset on and play Hades on a big screen. That is somewhat compelling to me. That's certainly not a buy the device for this use case. But
and certainly with Hades, right? Like a game like that, you could just install on your headset, right?
Yeah, and it'll run
and
fine.
Play that way.
Yeah.
You don't have to stream from your PC
Massive.
or anything.
I mean, you can probably run. They said that this thing, once everything shakes out, it's going to be slightly weaker than a Steam Deck after the translation layers and everything.
Yeah.
And so you're probably going to be able to play Cyberpunk on this. You're probably going to be, some fairly modern games that run on Steam Deck, you're going to be able to play in this. Now, granted, you're going to be playing them at 720p or something.
Right.
But you can do it.
But, like even that, I mean, to me, that's just like a bonus feature, right? Like that's not the main intent of a VR headset.
It's a VR gaming headset first.
Right. Yeah. The fact that you can play your non-VR games on it is cool, right? But like,
I will say,
not the main selling point.
The marketing has been a little disingenuous for this device. One of the major features that it is missing is color pass-through. This is monochrome pass-through.
Oh, okay.
And they showed in their trailer, and I actually think they should be getting a lot more shit for this than they are. They showed a woman sitting outside playing a game on a big screen in front of her. No one is going to do that with monochrome pass-through. I think it was a very rare use case with good color pass-through, but with monochrome pass-through, no. You are not going to put yourself in a pleasant environment to play this. You are going to just sit wherever is comfortable and be in a virtual environment. You're not going to want your pass-through on.
I think this kind of goes back to my earlier point, too. No one's kicking up a fuss about that because no one
really cares
too much about VR right now.
The weird thing in the VR space right now is like you have the Apple Vision Pro, you have the Quest 3, and you have the Galaxy XR just came out. And these are all pretty compelling headsets that all have like really good mixed reality use cases, allegedly. But the reality is, if you look at the numbers, no one cares about any of that. Because the version of mixed reality that is going to work, that I'm actually going to want to engage with, is when it's a pair of glasses I put on. And they know that. They know that like nobody actually wants to put on a headset for mixed reality. The argument that they're making is that they are developing a software ecosystem for when that hardware is ready. And so like we just have these weird windows into the future kind of with these really bulky and uncomfortable headsets that don't really fit an existing purpose today. And the Steam Frame is not like that. The Steam Frame is a very lightweight, very practical, one trick pony. Well, I mean, I guess one trick pony's wrong because it does have like a handful of use cases, but it's really a VR gaming focused device.
Yeah,
it's not doing AR.
Exactly, right. And it is a dedicated device, and I think that's important, right? Because the Apple Vision Pro can do everything, right? AR, VR,
but it weighs like 800
text
grams
for you and all this nonsense, right? But like a device that can do everything is never really good at doing anything.
Yeah,
a lot of the time, right? So I think the people that pick up this thing are going to use it for VR gaming. I think it is a valiant effort. I will commend anyone, Valve, whoever, that keeps trying to make VR proliferate, I guess, amongst like the gaming enthusiasts. And I think, I think it's a case of chip damage, right? Like we do see VR adoption growing, right? It's not like setting the world on fire, but like,
I mean, the Quest kids like are going to grow up eventually.
Yeah, MetaQuest did a lot of work in that regard. So I'm curious to see what kind of numbers the Steam frame does.
Yeah. I hope I can get a hold of one. I mean, 500,000, I hope they're not underestimating the demand for this thing.
Yeah.
500,000 feels right to me. I think that is like a reasonable goal. But I could see them hitting it. I could see, I mean, the Index at launch, like immediately was one of the most used Steam VR headsets. Like it immediately shot up to like 15% or something.
But the Index at launch, that was a time when like VR was novel, right? Like it was a time when VR was like this shiny cool thing. That
but it also
were
cost
like,
$1,000, and you had to set up. You had to set up base stations and everything. Like this is so much lower barrier to entry.
Yeah.
The base stations are like such a deal breaker for people. Like they don't look good. They make a loud whirring sound. They're expensive.
Like the biggest problem VR has right now that is slowly but surely getting solved is ease of use and comfort, right? Like those are the two biggest detractors, because VR gaming, when it works, is really rad.
Really compelling.
Like, really, really cool. And I'm saying this as someone who's mostly played on PSVR 1, right? Like I've barely touched my VR 2. I played a lot on VR 1 because it was a shiny new thing, right? And even that, like very mediocre kind of VR solution, like when you're in there, when you're in a game, it's magical. It's something that can only be described as like it is something that has to be seen to be believed. Yeah. With how immersive it is, right?
Yeah.
But
and there's
the like, discomfort isn't worth that a lot of the time.
Yeah. And I really do think that is the most important thing I need them to get right on the Steam frame is like, because I was using my Quest. Because like all the Steam VR stuff that they've talked about, that exists now. Like if you have a Quest, you can just boot into Steam VR and you can play the games on the screen. Like you can do all that. And I wanted to see how well all of it worked and stuff. But my Quest 3, now that I've added enough stuff to it that I feel it is usable comfort-wise, it's 800 grams. It's so heavy. It's not comfortable.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. I don't like it. That stuff didn't bother me that much at the time that I was doing it, but like I realize now that that's why I don't put it on. If they really can, this 200-gram faceplate, 200-gram battery in the back, if they can really just get it comfortable with just that, and it's something that I can put on with the speed of a sleep mask and the comfort of a sleep mask, I think it's something I could see myself using, probably not daily, but like maybe at least as much as I use my Switch 2. Like,
yeah,
when a game comes out that I'm excited for, like Thief. I really want to play the new Thief. I'd love to play it on this new hardware. I think it'd be great.
Yeah. And I guess just to kind of sum it up, right? Like, give us the price, Valve.
Give us the price.
Give us the price of the Steam frame. The controller I care less about price-wise. I mean, I care most about the controller, but I care least about its price because I know it won't be anything ridiculous. But like the Steam frame and most importantly the Steam machine, we need the prices for these things. Yeah. Because like absolutely the price will dictate like what this thing will end up being.
Because I want the Steam frame, but if it's $999, that's a non-starter for me. Even at $700,
if it's another Valve
that's
Index,
a little painful, right? Like, but I might go for it just to get out of the Meta ecosystem. Oh, that's something I didn't even mention. This is something people don't know if they're not pretty plugged in. But I was doing some research on it, and apparently, through some less than legitimate ways, most of the Quest exclusive library is playable on devices like the Pico headset. You do have to like crack them, like pirate them to do this. But I would absolutely rather buy a game and then crack it and play it on my Steam frame than put on a Quest headset. Like,
yeah.
And those games, I don't know how long Zuckerberg can hold on setting money on fire with his mixed reality labs. I don't know if he'll hold on to those exclusives or start adopting a more Sony-like strategy and let them come over to Steam after a year or something. I could see that happening if the audience exists. Right now, the games would need ported to x86, but the Steam frame is ARM and it's running, it can load Android apps. So theoretically, if these games are not locked down, you could just put the APK in and it would run it just fine.
Yeah.
So, that significantly increases the games. You got Deadpool, Batman, Asgard's Wrath 2, probably some others.
Right. Yeah. It's just, I know there's Half-Life Alyx, but we need like several more Half-Life Alyxes for VR to really.
Yeah.
I just believe that. I feel like if the software is compelling enough, people will get it. People will get it. I think that is true.
Half-Life Alyx is just like a 10 out of 10 though.
I know. I know it's like, from everything I've heard about this game, it seems to be the game.
Yeah.
But I guess even being the game for VR is not enough.
So
you need something.
What I hear from casuals is that Half-Life Alyx is the game. What I hear from people that are like really plugged in is that Half-Life Alyx is more like top 5. And that there are like 5 Half-Life Alyx tier games that I...
Like Asgard's Wrath 2 or whatever.
They like Asgard's Wrath. I don't know if I would say it's Half-Life Alyx tier, mostly because of the visuals. From a polish standpoint, absolutely. It was like an Uncharted tier game. Like from the playability, the set pieces, all of that going on. It was just, it's running on a phone attached to your face. Like, it doesn't look that good.
Right, yeah.
Half-Life Alyx looks like a modern game. It looks gorgeous. It could be released tomorrow and it would look like a modern game.
Yeah. So it's always interesting when we revisit the VR space.
Boneworks. Boneworks is one of the huge ones. Boneworks is huge. People like that more than Half-Life Alyx. But
Boneworks, I've never even heard of that.
It's something you have to be a more mature VR player because it's hard on the stomach.
Okay.
Boneworks is good. Vertigo 1 and 2 are both extremely good. I played the demo. I never bought the full game.
Yeah, but like, here's what I'm trying to say, Connor.
You need properties.
We need something that has people, like the way people talk about freaking Fortnite or Minecraft. We need that.
Well, that's
only in VR.
Tag and Beat Saber, but
no, but it's not though. You know what I mean? It's that kind of ubiquity is not there, and I don't know how to make it happen. I
think you need properties. I think that's what's missing. Like you can't play a Mario or a Zelda game in VR. You can't play an Uncharted game in VR. You don't have these. Half-Life was this big existing property that went to VR, and then they sort of did it again with Assassin's Creed, but Assassin's Creed's nowhere near as big as it used to be, and they put it on the Quest, and the overlap between Quest owners and Assassin's Creed players is so small.
Yeah.
Small audience overlap. And then they didn't market it. If I didn't tell you Assassin's Creed Nexus existed, would you know? There was no marketing for this thing.
Yeah.
And that's because Meta paid for it. Whoever, Ubisoft, didn't have to put any money into it. It was all paid for by Meta. And it just kind of, it was good. People liked it, but it was dead on arrival. And I think that's kind of the same with the Batman game. The Batman game was apparently incredible, like another Half-Life Alyx tier game that, because it's locked down on the Quest, just didn't really find an audience.
Right. Well, we shall see. Like maybe the Steam frame comes out, they put out another Half-Life Alyx tier game, and it sets the VR world on fire. It could happen.
For what it's worth, Valve is on the record saying they do not have any VR games in development right now. Maybe it's because it's done. Maybe it's already done.
No.
Or maybe Half-Life 3 is like a hybrid game.
Or they could just be lying. They're not obligated to tell the truth like a lot of these other companies are when it comes to finances, at least.
Yeah. Oh my God, I hope they're lying. That would be incredible. But I find it unlikely. I really think this is like, hey, we have all these great VR games on Steam and nobody's playing them. What if we give them a piece of hardware that is simple enough to get people to finally play all these excellent games we have? That is what I see the Steam frame as. And I don't think that's a mass market product, but I do think that's a product that will meet their expectations.
Right. It is another rung on the ladder of making VR mass market, I think. And maybe eventually we'll get there. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so there you have it. The Steam frame, the Steam controller, and the Steam machine. Wow. What a bomb to drop at
on
the
a
end of the
random
year
Wednesday.
Here. Yeah.
With no...
Crazy.
I mean, like, there were leaks and everything. Like, I knew it was... Or I suspected it was coming based on leaks and everything. But they didn't,
yeah,
like...
we talked about the leaks
but
earlier
last
this
episode.
year.
I mean, like,
No, we've
been talking about the leaks for, I feel like, months, years, you know?
Yeah, we talked about Deckard
Deckard was the Steam frame. We did like a whole episode. I think it was just a me and Connor episode, right?
That might have been, because that was right around when I got my Quest 3.
Last year?
That was last year, I think.
Yeah, it was last year. I this year's all compact because there was that hiatus in the middle for me. So I don't remember if it was... I think it was before the hiatus. So.
But yeah, this is the Deckard. The Deckard is here.
The Deckard is here,
it's just...
and everything else that was teased, it exists, which is crazy.
I just want to say, I guess to wrap it up, Valve is just so fascinating as a company, right? Because like they absolutely did not have to do any of this, right? Like they really didn't, right? Like they have an extremely successful platform in Steam that's just growing like more drastically than its competitors. But here they come out with this kind of out of pocket move that I think has a very real chance to disrupt the status quo. So I'm curious to see that final ingredient, the price, that'll determine everything.
That bundle price is going to be important too, because the synergy with these devices, if they can get a $1,200 bundle for Steam machine, Steam frame, Steam controller, that's going to be like the cheapest PC VR entry point. Like, and they've already said the Steam machine is going to be like plenty competent to play basically every VR game on Steam right now, because VR tends to target a lower spec. In general, most of it's Quest ports. So I don't know. I think that bundle. I think I'll be trying to hound you to get it because I want you in VR. I want to play some No Man's Sky.
I mean, I've got a PSVR 2 and I've got the PC connector. I've just
you have the PC connector?
Yeah, I got it. I just never used it.
That's funny.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Oh, we didn't. Yeah,
one of these days I'll pop it back on.
I want to hit all the points. Steam Frame also has eye tracking, foveated rendering, foveated streaming, which is the new thing that's supposed to be the secret sauce.
New thing. New stuff.
Yeah. Cool tech. I kind of want to talk about this from the perspective of assuming everything works the way they said it was, so we don't need to get into the weeds on that. But
I looked back, our episode on the rumors was about a year ago, December 11th.
That's funny.
Episode.
That's cool.
Almost a year ago.
Yeah. It's exciting.
See, some of the rumors that we talk about actually happen.
Yeah, I mean, the Switch 2 came out eventually.
Sometimes when there's smoke, there's a raging bonfire.
But yeah, I'm very excited for this hardware. I'm a little sad that I just have no use case for the Steam machine, because I do think that box looks so good. I want it.
Yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, like even if they price this right, the three of us are not the target audience.
Yeah, we all already have PCs.
Yeah, so... But it's so attractive that I might get one anyway.
I mean, I genuinely think it would like triple, if not quadruple, the amount of time you spend playing Steam games if you could just grab a controller and play it on your couch. That you were just that gamer, for sure.
I for sure am, yeah.
And for what it's worth, the Steam controller, it does something that like basically no other controller on the market can do on Windows, which is if it carried this feature from the first one, which I have to imagine it did. You can just hit the Steam button and it'll wake your PC from sleep. For me, I had a hotkey set up to switch my display over to my TV, and then it boots into Steam Big Picture mode. So it wasn't quite as seamless as a console, but it was like...
I was going to say, this is an area where consoles have this down.
The Steam machine will have this pat, but like for my cobbled together setup, this was pretty good, and I don't have it anymore because my Steam controller broke, and I miss it dearly. Yeah. Right now I have to get up, shake my mouse, grab my controller, switch it over to the TV. It's a lot, right? Like it's
at that point I'm already like thinking about something else.
Yeah, it's a lot.
With our cooked attention spans nowadays, I can't just press a button and be in.
Yeah,
it's over. All right. Well, that was fun. What are we playing?
I've been playing a little bit of Monster Hunter Stories 2: Wings of Ruin.
Okay, what is that?
It's like a turn-based RPG Monster Hunter game. So there's a lot of people call it like the Pokemon Killer or something. I think they're a little delusional, not just because it's like not.
It's certainly a Pokemon Killer. I've never heard of it,
but it's like a fun monster collector. Like it's in the Monster Hunter universe, and you go around. You're a monster rider instead of a monster hunter. The monster hunters are in the world, and they're like a different faction. and kind of a rival faction. But you were still like slaughtering these monsters by the hundreds. Like,
of course,
you were not, like,
wouldn't be Monster Hunter without that.
But you steal their eggs and you go hatch the eggs, and these are your monsties, which are your team basically. And I think the fascinating thing about it is you don't actually control your monsters. I'm not going to say monstie anymore. You don't control your monsters. They do whatever they want, but you are also fighting with turn-based combat, and you like craft your gear and stuff much like a normal Monster Hunter game. And if you synergize your moves with your monster's moves, you do like way more damage and stuff. And also
that's an interesting take on it.
The monsters are significantly stronger than you too, which I find really interesting. I'm really not that far into it yet, but I find it interesting. It's fully voice acted. It's looks decent, plays well on the Steam Deck. It's like a great, like, it's a great game to play while you're doing something else, like watching like YouTube or something. It's been great for that. It's not like, it's not a Monster Hunter game in that it's not like eating me alive, you know? But I like it. It's fun.
Fun spin-off.
Yeah, it's fun if you like other properties doing Pokemon. Like, I think you would like this.
Side note, this is a bit of a tangent, but have you guys heard of Pokopia?
Yeah. $70 for that, huh?
I mean, I thought it looks pretty compelling. Like Animal Crossing Pokemon.
I think it's compelling.
I feel like that thing's going to set the world on fire.
It might. I just don't like the look of it, I think.
I actually haven't even looked at it yet. I've only been read about it.
There's like a significant amount of gameplay available on YouTube now if you want to watch it. But
okay, I should probably watch it before I decide how I feel about it. But like just the premise alone, I was just like, this is a brilliant premise.
It's interesting. We'll have to. I'm waiting for reviews on that one.
Yeah. And it's 2026 anyway, so it's pretty irrelevant right now.
Yeah. That's all. That's all I've got for Monster Hunter Stories. So somebody else can grab the ball.
How about you, Mike? You play any more EU?
I have. I played a good bit of EU more, but I kind of want to talk about the tabletop campaign I've been running.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So we're in like session 4 or 5 now, I think.
What game?
And I'm running a Vampire the Masquerade campaign set in Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah.
But I just introduced all of my characters to like the Primogens, which are the big wigs of the clans.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, they're approaching it well. This is my first time running a campaign. And I'm kind of winging it as I go along because
your first time's always a rush.
Planning. Yeah. But no, I am surprised at how well formatted this is running out and how much I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Because right now, I kind of have a twist ending in mind that none of the players are expecting.
Nice.
Where they kill the prince and it's revealed that they were being manipulated by someone else the entire time.
Well, I hope they're
hopefully none of them listen to this show.
No, none of them really listen to the show. My girlfriend doesn't listen to the show either, so we're good there.
Not real fans?
Good.
Not a real fan. But I don't even think she knows this exists. She's in the game, though. I had to create her character, and it scares me.
Oh, yeah?
I had to help her create her character, and it scares me because it has a 13 dice pool for persuasion rolls.
So she sees everything.
No, for persuasion. So she can,
persuasion. I heard perception.
If she's trying to convince somebody and manipulate them, it's just a pass. I don't think there's a situation where I can muster enough of a counter roll.
Yeah.
To beat her roll.
That's like a vampire power, right? To be that persuasive, or is that
that it's still like 10's normally like peak human performance.
Yeah,
like you're the most like you could literally sell
ice to an Eskimo.
Baby. It's like sell ice to like a Canadian, you know. But the 13 scares me. But I do have a session after this where one of my players didn't make it last session, so he's got to meet his Primogen. And I'm ready to just go unhinged because he's playing a Malkavian who are notoriously prophetic, but also a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't wait to play that character out in front of him. But it's fun. I'm kind of at the point where I don't know where I'm going with this. I just know the ending, and that's about all I got.
See, I feel like that's all you need as a storyteller, right? You know the ending, and you know kind of the big beats, and you make it all up as you go along.
You improv your way to
That's how it goes.
DMing is so fun for that.
Yeah. I created a whole group of like thin blood vampires whose entire aesthetic is that they just really like the Matrix. And even down to the names. It was so easy.
Like the movies?
Like the movies. I went through a list of Matrix character names as I was introducing individual vampires in this like this sect of thin bloods. Yeah, and they were talking to a character who called himself Morpheus.
Morpheus. I said Morbius.
No, someone did call it. One of my players did call it Morbius, and I had to like sigh, but also not laugh while I was in character.
Yeah, because that happens all the time.
Yeah, at the end of this session, I held out 2 pills to each of the players.
Excellent.
just to fit the whole bit, and that's where they decided they needed to kill the prince. They all took the red pill, and now they're gonna commit a crime.
Now they're based.
It's great that I'm creating these characters that are very funny on the outside, but they're 100% serious about it.
Yeah.
I got possessed. One of the primogens is this British explorer from like the Victorian era, who may or may not have committed great crimes in the African colonies. But
as they do,
my players have described him as Professor Farnsworth if he had a pith hat. Because the whole like 30 long minutes of me just rambling about how he wasn't in country at the time.
Yeah.
And may or may not have committed great crimes in the Congo while telling absolutely no one any relevant information.
Yeah.
I got possessed by this character. He took me by storm.
Yeah, you weren't writing this character. This character was writing you. This
character was writing me. Like I couldn't stop myself, and I realized about halfway through I had to tell the character at least something useful.
Yeah.
But I think I was having more fun making this character just this old rambling man.
That's fun. I love DMing D&D. Yeah, it's such a good experience.
It's so fun. It's so
I feel like it's something I would very much enjoy, but I've never tried.
We haven't even had combat yet. I have not. The closest to a combat encounter was where the Inquisition broke into a club and started burning people.
Is it a high combat system, or is it?
No, it's a very low combat system.
Okay, super deadly, or
it's super deadly.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want the players to fight the Inquisition. That's why they came in force and kind of burnt an entire club full of people. And some vampires, they didn't care. It's the Second Inquisition.
Right.
They're vampires in that club. The flamethrowers go on. But no, it's fun. And having a Malkavian means I can kind of hint at story beats to just the Malkavian, but make them intentionally vague as part of their clan bane. So I've been having a lot of fun playing with that.
Yeah. That sounds fun. Vampire the Masquerade has always interested me.
Yeah.
I thought about picking up some of the video games. I know there's a good VR one.
VTMB Bloodlines is the original Bloodlines is probably the best one.
Yeah.
And the best introduction to kind of the world.
Yeah. It's an interesting world.
I'll have a sequel campaign for it at some point. I have a plan.
Nice.
Maybe.
Do you know how much longer your campaign's going to go? Do you have a plan?
I think maybe another couple months. I don't think I have much left in the tank for it. I didn't plan for it to be super long.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it, though.
Yeah, so I think I planned 9 sessions worth of.
Because notoriously, you like never finish these, and like not you specifically, but anyone never finishes a campaign. So if you can finish your first campaign, I'll be really impressed.
Yeah, I have the ending, and I think we're marching towards it very quickly.
Nice.
The whole coterie hates the prince and wants him dead. I just gotta let him get the chance. But
well, very cool.
What about you, Ahmed?
I don't have anything to say today, unfortunately. I probably will next week though. But I was visiting my friend in Kansas City who has a new son, and that was cool.
Wow.
And this is the same friend who I always make my stupid home videos with, which I release on my YouTube channel. So look forward to that. So that's always fun. It's cool because like he's one of my best friends, and he's been one of my best friends since like middle school.
Yeah.
Right. And like ever since high school, we just make dumb like home movies together and put them on YouTube. Yeah. Like this has been a thing, and like now I'm 31 and he's 31 and has a kid, and we're still doing it.
Is the kid in the movie?
Oh yeah, he's like the focal point. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah. So I'm excited. Got some editing work to do on that. But
principal photography is done though, I hear.
Principal photography is done. Yes. But I have. Let me just briefly say this. I'll talk about it next week. I did start Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Oh.
This is a game that like I was always kind of cursorily interested in, but seeing it nominated for the Game Awards, I was just like, all right,
gotta check it out.
I gotta check it out. And so I started, and I like it. I'm very much overwhelmed though. This is like
it's a big
like a Witcher
game, right?
tier. Yeah, Witcher tier. Like had a baby with Elder Scrolls. Had a baby with Red Dead Redemption 2 kind of game in terms of like everything's hyper realistic. There are systems on systems on systems on systems on systems. Extremely rich RPG mechanics. So
yeah,
I'm just trying to process it, but I'm enjoying it.
You're playing this on PS5?
But we'll have more to say. Yeah, PS5 Pro. Really good PSSR implementation. Very happy with it. It looks very good.
Very nice.
So. Too early to talk about right now, though.
I got one more. So I kind of want to talk about. And if you guys didn't watch it, then we won't talk about it. But did you guys see the newest trailer for Metroid Prime 4?
No,
I actually did not. But I'm curious what you think of it.
I'm not buying this game anymore. It looks awful. It looks actual detritus.
Yeah.
It looks so and the early impressions.
Oh, I did hear about like there's like an annoying side character or something
in a Metroid game. In a Metroid Prime game, there's an annoying Marvel character. Samus, don't you think we should look? This looks important, Samus. Shouldn't we look in here? Oh, Samus, have you tried putting a bomb in the bomb slot? Like, this game's ruined. It is, like...
Yeah, that's awful.
Because there are two things you have to get right in a Metroidvania. Atmosphere and map design. This eliminates any possibility of a good atmosphere. And the map, they've shown, it's the motorcycle that I thought was going to ruin the game. It's going to ruin the game. The map is a giant desert with stuff on every end of the desert. So it is impossible for any interconnectivity to exist here. And so this game is dead on arrival. I actually think there's a good chance that the version of it they scrapped was better. I think this looks like a steaming pile of crap. Like I actually think this is going to be like
it's very unfortunate,
miserable to play.
Just put out more 2D Metroid games. Give me more of that.
100%. Like because Metroid Prime was never as good as 2D Metroid anyway, but it was good, and this does not look good. This looks... I mean, even Arlo, I don't know if you guys follow. Arlo is like the biggest Metroid defender. He's been so excited for like 8 years for Metroid Prime 4.
Guy.
And he put out a video basically weeping about this game being ruined.
Yeah, that's weird. Like,
yeah, why would they do it?
I mean, it's still too early, I guess, to say, but like it really seems like they misunderstood.
I mean, it's
their audience, or like maybe they tried to take a gamble to get a bigger audience. Like that's always a crappy thing to do when you like forsake your current audience for like a potential bigger audience. It almost never works out.
It's possible that the annoying guy is only in like the first hour of the game, but like we know
why was he in the trailer then?
Yeah, we know that there are other characters in the game. Like other Galactic Federation characters who may or may not be less annoying, but having characters at all kind of hurts it as a Metroid game to me. And I mean, Silk Song pulled it off, but that's different. But the world design being like this is just untenable to me. It's just
that's unfortunate. Like, however, I will say, like, I was never Metroid Prime 4 was always like, oh, that'd be cool if it was good kind of thing to me. It was never like, I'm not like a die-hard Metroid Prime fan, so it's not like devastating to me or whatever. But
same. But I feel bad for the people that have been waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah, for eons. Yeah,
saves me money, frankly,
because
I'm not going to spend $70 on this game anymore.
Yeah, and I've look, man, like this year was like an all-timer for video games. I've bought so many games this year, played so many games, so many quality games, so many games that in other years would easily be game of the year, but this year it's like, well, I'm not going to say it, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week, right? Like,
we all know, but Yeah, just an insane catalog of high quality games this year.
Yeah.
So I'm not missing out on Metroid Prime 4.
No.
Sorry. Yeah. All right, I think that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you all for listening. You can follow us at Podcast Game Talk on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Blue Sky. You can click the link in the description of the podcast to join our Discord and talk to us there. And please like, rate, and review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you consume your podcasts. Thank you, Connor and Mike.
Yeah, see you guys next week.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bye.